Do they pick Narawa or do they pick Reese?
Yep.
Toss up there.
Obviously, Cortez starts at 9. There's no question about that, right?
Absolutely. Damien McKenzie for sure.
Yeah, he gets a position on the bench. And then it's just one guy who's either going to cover midfield or outside backs.
Yeah.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
We're going to find out later in the week, obviously, when the All Blacks get selected. And one of the things I've asked Tony to do is just this early in the week, look at who you think might be our 15 and might be our 23. Establish first who's not there, okay, so that we know clearly who isn't playing.
Okay, well, so Lomax, Jacobson, Roygaard, Hotham, Clark.
All out.
All out. Question mark over Tamaiti Williams. They've picked George Bauer as injury cover. So does that mean that they're not confident that Tamaiti Williams is going to be fit for the first one? I guess we'll find out as the week wears on. And they've picked a number of players to go in as injury cover as well. So it's sort of clouded the selection thing just a little bit. But look, if Tamaiti Williams can't play, then it's still not hard to see what's going to happen there. Obviously, one of the first names you write down on the team list is Codie Taylor to start at hooker. He's definitely the number one guy, and they'll want to hit the ground running. And we'll talk about Argentina in a moment because it's going to be a strong Argentina team. They're playing them up country as well, which is always tough. So Codie Taylor at hooker, Fletcher Newell. Obviously, Lomax out. You miss his big presence around the field, but Fletcher Newell, in terms of scrummaging, if there's going to be a big scrum battle in this game, well, then he is an outstanding man to have starting the test. I've got every confidence there. Ethan de Groot, likewise, he's got experience under his belt. He's come back really strongly this year after things went a bit skew-whiff last year. So there's your starting two. Look, if they are consistent in terms of who they picked in their core team, getting preference over those who have been named as injury cover, well then Tossie and Norris are the guys that come off the bench. Not so much experience there, but if the other guys have done their job, then that obviously gives them a platform to finish the game off. So there's your front row. Locks, obviously Scott Barrett, fit again, leads the team. And I think they've got to stick with Fabian Holland.
Have to, no question, right?
Yeah,
no question.
Because every time he plays, he benefits from it. He grows as a test player. So no doubt there's your starting combination in my mind. It's just a question of what happens with the rest of the makeup of the forwards, both in terms of the makeup of the loose forwards, but also what you've got on the bench as well. Number one question is, where do you play Tupouva'i? To me, I'd rather see him start again at 6 because I thought...
he played well there. And, and also Holland has slotted into that role and provided something different with the locks. And I think Tupouva'i, the selection there was aimed at South Africa. It was aimed for increased height, wasn't it? But he's actually started in 2 short appearances, made the number 6 jersey almost his own. So
he's a weapon at line-out time, and he's very good at the front of the line-out where obviously gets lifted, but he's got quite an explosive sort of jump as well. And what that means is that you've got the ability to disrupt the opposition ball. Even if you don't win it, you're disrupting it. And either he or Fabian Holland were able to pick off some good steals against the French with that combination there. The only thing is, what do they have in mind, I think, for Simon Parker?
Yes.
Whether they see him as a potential starter. He stayed behind. He played a game for Northland before heading off to join the team in Argentina. I get the funny feeling they're quite keen to get him into the action. Would have done so had he been able to against the French. So that's a possibility. But to me, if I was
on
picking
the bench,
team,
though, surely not being named to start.
Well, yeah, but you just never know. It's quite hard to second guess the scenario because suddenly there are a lot of options in the loose forward trio. Plus, there's a few injury question marks there as well. But to me, I'm starting with Barrett and Holland. I like Va'i at 6. And then, I think we're all sold on the idea of Artie at 7.
Yeah, that goes.
And I think they flagged that at the start. They moved him back, obviously, when there was that late injury disruption in Hamilton. But they moved him back, changed that around, gave Duplessis Kirifi a start. To me, I'd like to see them start Artie at 7. Then it comes down to 8. Now, Wallace Atiti, Breakthrough Player of the Year last year, hasn't had a lot of rugby, but do they put him back there? Or just bear in mind, too, that Simon Parker has been playing number 8 for Northland, even if he didn't play there for the Chiefs.
Yep.
He played mainly 6. I think he had one game starting at 8, but he's played the last season and a bit for Northland at number 8, whether they might see him as an option there. And then you've also got to look at Peter Lakai, who's come back into it. Or do you start Duplessis Kirifi and do you have Artie at 8? I don't know. If I was picking the team, I'd have Artie at 7, I'd have Vai at 6, and to me it's a bit of a toss-up. I think I'd probably go Satiti at 8.
Yeah, if he's fit, I'm going Satiti at 8, no question.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Parker on the bench somewhere in the frame, because I'd say they're keen on him. Of course, Finau did a pretty good job as well. So they've got options there.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to me to, I mentioned the backups at prop and hooker probably Taukei'aho, although I wouldn't rule out Brodie McAllister as well, because he's such a good technician, and you want your line-out throws. If the game's on the line in the last 20 minutes, you want a good, accurate line-out thrower. So, but probably Taukei'aho as the backup hooker. Then what do? Do they go for 2 loose forwards, like they favoured throughout the French series,
and have Vai as your cover lock?
Vai as your cover at lock.
Yep.
Or do they bring Patrick Tuipulotu off the bench, where I think he's capable of making a genuine impact in the latter stages of the game? And certainly if it was South Africa, that's what I'd be looking to do. And why wouldn't you do the same against Argentina? And then one specialist loose forward. Now, obviously, Duplessis Kirifi has been that guy, a specialist number 7. But you have to think about the versatility that you get from someone like Peter Lakai with his ability to play
6, 7 or 8.
Either of those loose forward positions.
Right.
So
God,
to me,
a lot to think about, isn't there?
There's a lot to unpack there, and I'm not sure that I'm keen to second guess them.
Okay. But and as I say, we're going to find out. There's our forward pack and our potential bench. Backline. Obviously, Cortez starts at 9. There's no question about that, right?
Absolutely.
And we don't quite know whether Bowden... See, this is it. There's still a lot of...
Bowden Barrett's fit to play.
In that case, he starts at 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the message that we were given, that he is okay, that he's had that...
Sorry, I'm picking this for you. Are you picking those two at 9 and 10?
Well, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. With Cameron Roigard out, then it's just a question of who fits in, who's the reserve. Finlay Christie, of course, with the experience that he brings, they might favour that. He's very quick to the ruck, good at clearing the ball. So do they go with him first because he's got that additional time? He's been in a black jersey before. Preston, I think right from the start of the season, everyone's thinking, God, this guy has got something about him. He seems to have a confidence in his game, poise in his game, the ability to kick off both feet, really appeals as a closer. So again, it's a toss-up, but I'd say if they favour experience, then they probably go for Christie.
I can't see. The All Black selectors always have a conservative side to them too. This is a tough test in a place where you have been up country, Córdoba, against an Argentinian side, which is going to be absolutely prepped and ready. Big home crowd, and they're going to want to scrum a lot, Tony. Okay, so those are established facts in terms of Argentina, aren't they?
Well, yeah, the scrummaging thing it was always their hallmark.
Yeah,
and
they love it.
Fell away a bit for quite a while, and suddenly you realise that actually they weren't quite the force. But I think with the likes of Sclavi, and they've got a couple of young props that have come through in the last couple of years, that maybe they do look to go back to that a bit. You mentioned the Córdoba there, the stadium, Mario Kempes Stadium.
1978, he scored twice for the Argies when they won the Football World Cup.
Yep,
Big,
six goals.
Long-haired dude, handsome looking guy, top scorer, 6 goals, left
Before
footer.
Maradona, there was Mario Kempes. He wasn't the same kind of once-in-a-lifetime talent that
global
Maradona
superstar.
was, but he was the star.
Was
so
the guy.
They've named the stadium after him. Yeah, and look, it'll be packed and it'll be atmospheric. It'll be great. So yeah, but anyway, getting back to the selection. So okay, we've 9 and 10. So Barrett's fit again.
Geordie's at 12. That's
that's a lockdown. He one of the first names you put in the team. I think they probably. I'd like to see Billy Proctor get another shot at centre.
I think they do. I think it'd be weird for them not to, Tony, in these two tests.
Well, yeah, but then you have to consider the experience that Anton Leonard-Brown brings. Remember, he had the injury issue that kept him out of the series. Now, Leonard-Brown's also a very good man to have coming off the bench because he's got some versatility there, and they do have options covered. I quite like the way that's shaping, where you can start with Jordan at fullback, move him to the wing, or you can start with someone at 10, move them to fullback, or vice versa. Same with, we're talking about the interchangeable parts in the forwards. positions as well. So, but yeah, I'd like to see Proctor get another start there, and then it comes down to selecting the wings. Rieko Ioane, I think they'll stick with him on the left wing for sure. Yep. I know a lot of people would love to see Leroy Carter get a chance because he's just such an electrifying player.
I think it's too early right now against Argentina.
Go straight in like that.
Yeah. I just don't think that. I think there's going to be horses for courses, a little bit of safety attitude about this. They're going to want to get that first win in Argentina under their belt.
They definitely want to hit the ground running. Yeah. And then it just becomes a matter of who do they pick on the right wing? Do they pick Narawa or do they pick Reece?
Yeah.
Toss up there. I like Narawa because particularly if the ball's coming at him in the air, he's got a fullback skill set. Not that Sevu Reece isn't good in that regard. I like Narawa. But that's a toss up between those two, and then obviously Jordan at fullback, and then you're looking at the halfback. As I say, it was really a question of who was the backup halfback. Was it Christie or was it Preston?
In, yeah.
Yep.
Damien
McKenzie for sure.
Yeah, he gets a position on the back, and then it's just one guy who's either going to cover midfield or outside backs.
Yeah, and so if Anton Leonard-Brown doesn't start, then I think he's the guy coming off the bench.
DSPN.